Okay, good afternoon, all of you, my dear students. Today, my topic is actually determinant. Already, we have an idea of the matrix. What is matrix? It's a rectangular array. So, today, we have the concept of this determinant today. So, basically, what we do in matrix, a rectangular arrangement of data, right? So, in that case, there are so many types of matrices you have seen. So, in this case we have the determinant, because already we have an idea in matrix that to find the adjoint of a matrix, that what is the determinant actually. Okay. So, every look at that, the expression of determinant, every square matrix can be associated to an expression or a number which is known as its determinant, okay, which is known as a determinant. So, suppose you have a matrix A11, I am writing a 3 cross 3 matrix, this is a n cross n square matrix. So, determinant is associated to a square matrix, okay. Determinant is always associated to a square matrix. So, I am writing one matrix A11, A12, A13 and A21, A22, A22, sorry, A21, A21, A23 and A31, A32 and A33. So, this matrix suppose. So, what is the determinant corresponding to this matrix? The determinant is will be of 3 cross 3 order, third order determinant, right. Now, what is determinant? That may be the question. What is determinant? So, it is a 3 cross 3. So, there will be 3 rows and 3 columns. So, here in this case you have n rows and n columns. You have n rows and n columns. So, this is a n cross n matrix. So, what you are getting here, in this case, you are getting A11, A12, A13. So, matrix is written on a like a expression in determinant 211, 22 and 23, A31, A32 and A33, right. So, now how will you write this expression? So, what is the value of this determinant? Now, we have to find out the value of this determinant. How? You are suppose considering first row and first column. So, considering first row and first column, you have the intersection element 1 1 and you have a this element A22, A23, A32, A33. So, there is a cross multiplication. So, if you do the cross multiplication, A22, A33 minus A23 into A32, okay. This is for the element A11. I will explain later on what is minor and cofactor, but try to find out how to get the value of the determinant. So, next is you are considering the first row, but second column you are considering the second column, this one. So, your intersection element is A12. So, I am writing plus A12, but in this case, in the first case we have this notation, that is from heaven to hell. If I say the cross multiplication method, heaven to hell, now you are actually suppressing the first row and the second column. So in this case you have the elements A21, A23, A31, A33. So in this case you are going for the rule hell to heaven. So this is your hell to heaven. So your first multiplication will be A31, A23, A23, A31 minus A21, A33. Okay, minus, because you are left with the elements A21, you are suppressing the second column, so you are left with the elements A21, A23, A31, A33. So your this is your first multiplication. Because you are going hell to heaven, so you are considering A31 into A23 first. So look at that, this is first, minus the other two, product of other two elements, that is A21, A33. So here you have A21, A33. Okay, plus now you are suppressing the first row and third column. So third column means you are remain with these two elements. Look at that, A21, A22, A31, A32. So what you will write? You will write, okay, the intersection element is A13. So you have to write the intersection element A13 into A21, A32. Again the rule is heaven to hell. Okay, in the first case you have heaven to hell, hell to heaven, and the last case hell to heaven to hell. So this is the last case because you are suppressing the third column. So you have A21, A32, look at the determinant, minus A31, A22, right? So this is how. So these are all constants, right? These are all real numbers. A11, A12, A13, these 9 elements are all real numbers, maybe some other 0. So what you will get after this calculation, you will get a real values, right? So I am writing here, after this you will get a real value. So that means you have a matrix. Initially you have a matrix, but what you are getting here, you are getting a real value. That means you are getting a value. That means there is some function is going on. So what is the function? Suppose if I write f from s to r, it's a function. F is a function. What is the function? What is the domain of this function? Domain is the, what is S? S is the set of all real matrices, square matrices. S is the set of all real square matrices. Set of all square matrices. This is a very important concept. S is the set of all square matrices, right? And what you are getting on the right hand side, you are getting a value, that is a scalar value, a constant. It may be real number, it may be a complex, that depends on the matrix actually. If matrix is complex, you are getting a complex value, but in this case we are dealing with a real value. So we can say determinant is a function. That is set of all square matrices of order n. Actually square matrix, maybe order n, maybe order 2, maybe order 3, which assign to each matrix A in S to a scalar, a real number. That association is called a determinant function. Okay, clear? So this is how the determinant works, and this is how you will expand the determinant. Okay, similarly you can expand the second order determinant. So I am explaining. So this expression, actually this expression what you have in the first stage, this is expand with the respect of the first row, expansion with respect to the first row. We can expand the determinant with respect to the second row. We can expand the determinant with respect to the third row. We can expand the determinant with respect to the first column. We can expand the determinant with respect to the second column, and we can expand the determinant with respect to the third column. So there are 6 ways to expand the determinant, but all you in usual or always we are using the first row, because it is very easy to consider the first row and considering first column, second column, third column. So we usually using the first row always to expand the determinant. Otherwise, there are 6 possible ways to expand the determinant. Got it? So, this is the way. And remember, if you want to keep the plus sign here, all the signs are, look at that, all the sign are plus. So, if you want to keep the plus sign here, so in that case you have to go through this rule, that is heaven to hell, hell to heaven, heaven to hell. That means in the first case, again I am explaining that one. If you are considering first row, first column, then you are remain with this square 2 cross 2 matrix, 2 cross 2 determinant. In that case you are doing heaven to hell. That means first you will from up to down. So, A2 to A33, look at that, once again I will explain this, A2 to A33 minus A23 A32, right. And next one, the intersection element is A12, that is you are considering first row, second column. So, you are A12 is the intersection element, and you have this one, in this case you have hell to heaven. So, you are considering A31 into A23, that is why this comes first. But if you want to keep the minus sign here, then in that case all the things will be heaven to hell, heaven to hell, heaven to hell. In that case you put a minus instead of a plus sign. Okay. So, this is how you will expand the determinant. This is very important because expansion of determinant is required. Already you have an idea in adjoint how to calculate that 2 cross 2 determinant. So, I am talking about a 3 cross 2 determinant, and also you have a concept that determinant is nothing but a function. What is that function? Its domain is the square matrices, all square matrices. Maybe it is a n cross n, maybe it is a 3 cross 3, and it gives you a real value. So, actually you are giving a square matrix that corresponds to a real value. That is why it is called a determinant function. Okay, clear? Okay, next I will state some properties, or you can say these are theorems. These are properties, maybe in your book it is stated as a theorem properties. So, I will state as a theorem because these are the theorems. The interchange of 2 rows or columns of an n cross n matrix A changes the sign of det A. So, also I will explain that one. So, in that case this is your A matrix. So, we write this is your A matrix, suppose this is your A matrix. So, we say that this is your determinant, that is the expression is det A, or we say the determinant of A, and this is written as this, right, like a modulus sign, and inside that sign you will put the numbers A11, A12, 13, this like this. Okay. So, this is the symbolic representation of determinant. This is the symbolic representation. Now, first one, interchanging of 2 rows or columns will give a sign, change of sign of the determinant. So, I am explaining this one. Suppose you have a determinant A that is equal to, suppose A, B, C 1, 2, 3, and suppose X, Y, Z. So, this is a 3 cross 3 determinant. Okay, let me write this properly so that you can understand. C3, and third column is C3Z, right. I am randomly selecting the elements, all are real numbers. So, this is the determinant. Now, suppose you are interchanging 2 rows. Suppose I want X, Y, Z in the second position and 1, 2, 3 in the last position. Okay, that will give you a minus sign. But your first position, that is the first row, remains same. Do not change the first position. I am just interchanging second and third row. Got it? Interchanging second and third row, and that will give you a minus sign. That will give you a minus sign. Interchanging second row and third row, that will give you a minus sign. Again, I want to interchange first column and the second column. I want to interchange. So, again there will be a minus. So, minus minus plus, because you are doing 2 operations, second operation. So, by2 ax1, but I am keeping the third column as it is. I am not changing the third column, right. So, this is how. So look at that. Any changes in the rows and columns will change the sign of the determinant. Okay, that you can verify by finding the value of this determinant and finding the value of this determinant. They will be differ by a minus sign. Clear? So this is the first theorem, or you can say first property. Next, in an n cross n matrix A, if two rows or column be identical, then determinant of A will be 0. What is the meaning of that? So again I am writing, suppose you have a determinant A is a determinant ABC XYZ. Okay, don't write A, I am just writing the determinant XYZ, and suppose this is also XYZ. So what you have? You have two rows are identical, right? You have two rows are identical. Okay, these two rows are identical, so the value of the determinant will be 0. You can easily verify that. So I am verifying in front of you. So I am expanding in terms of the first row. So in terms of the first row, so I am keeping the first row, first column. So A, the intersection element is A, and this multiplication heaven to hell, YZ minus YZ, right? Again considering the second column, so intersection is B, so I am keeping B in the first case heaven to hell. So B now is your hell to heaven. So this multiplication first, so the X into Z, because I am keeping the plus sign here, XZ minus the rest of the part, that is XZ. Okay, last I am considering the third column, so intersection element is C, and this multiplication rest of the element is XY. So you again we have heaven to hell, so XY minus XY. Okay, so you see all the parts are 0, all the terms are 0, so it will give you 0. So that is proved very easily. You can verify that if two rows or columns are identical, then the value of the determinant. This will hold for the columns also. So if your two columns are identical, suppose 1 2 3 minus 1 0 1 and 1 2 3, so this determinant will be 0. Clear? So if two rows and columns are identical, the value of the determinant will be 0. Okay, next, this is theorem 3, or you can say property 3, because in your book it is written as a property. Okay, so what is the theorem 3? In an n cross n matrix A, that is a square matrix, it can be 3 cross 3. If a row or column be multiplied by a scalar C, then data is multiplied by a C. So it is a very important thing in operation, in determinant, when we will solve some problems on determinant. This is very helpful. Just go through this. So I am giving you one example for that. Suppose you have C, 2C, 3C, and suppose X, Y, Z, and you have 4, 5 and 6. This is the determinant. So you see your first row, just consider the first row, you have a multiplication C with each element of the first row. These are the elements. You have 3 elements in the first row, because I am talking about a 3 cross third order square matrix, or third order determinant, because it is a determinant of a third order square matrix. So this is a third order determinant, and your all the elements of the first row is multiplied by a constant C or scalar C. So first row all the elements. So what I can do, I can take common that C can be taken common from the first row. So what you can write, 1 2 3 X Y Z and 4 5 6, right? 1 2 3 X Y Z and 4 5 6. Okay, this is how you can take common from any row. If your row or column. It can be done for the column also. If your columns are multiplied by a scalar, you can take common, or you can multiply. Suppose from here I want to insert this C to the third row. Okay, that can be done. We can do that. We can do that very easily. Suppose x, y, z and 4c, 5c, 6c. Clear? So this is in your hand actually. What you need to do actually, according to your problem, you can use your operations or your properties. So also, suppose another example I am giving you. Suppose you have 2, 8, 16 and you have twice A, twice B, twice C, and last row is x, y, z. So what you can do here, from the first row you can take 2 common, and from the second row also, look at that, you can take 2 common. So what you remain, you are remain with 1, 4, 8, and in this case you have A, B, C, X, Y, Z, right? So you have 2 2s are 4 as a result of that, and 1, 4, 8, A, B, C, X, Y, Z. Right? Am I clear? Now you want to insert that 4 in the same operations. Look at that. It's chain wise the operations are going on. So in the same determinant you can put this 4 in the last column. Suppose I want to multiply the last column with this 4. Okay, no problem, I can do that. 4 B Y, and this is 32, 4C and 4Z. Am I clear? So this is the how beautifully you can do the problems, or how beautifully you can apply the properties. That depends on your actually knowledge. That will be your in your hand actually. You can do that. So a lot of things you can do that. Next, see, there is a theorem 4. Suppose A is a determinant, and suppose a particular row, I am talking about a particular row. In a particular row be expressed as the sum of 2 terms. Look at that. Then this can be split into 2 determinant. So this is a splitting of 2 determinant. Very important. Look at that. This is a nth order determinant. This is a nth order determinant. Look at that. You just concentrate on this row, particular row. This is the rth row, right? This is the rth row. You look at that. There is a plus in the first element, plus second element, plus third element, and the last element, so on. All the elements having a plus, because 2 elements are actually adding. So you can separate this into 2 determinant. That is, you can split the determinant. If all the elements are having this property, then you can separate the 2 determinants are like this. So I am giving you example for that also. No problem. Suppose A, B, C, and suppose you have x plus k1, y plus k2, and okay, and z plus k3, right? Okay, and lastly you have 1, 2, 3. So what you can do, you just check with this, you can split into 2 determinant. You can split this into 2 determinant. So what is the determinant? New determinant will be A, B, C, X, Y, Z, 1, 2, 3 plus A, B, C, k1 plus k2 plus k3. This is another thing, because you are splitting that addition part. You are concentrating on the second row and you are splitting into two determinant. So q1, k2, k3, right? And your last row and the first row remains the same. So this is how you are applying this property. You can split the determinant. Okay, clear? So this is how you will apply the properties. So this is how your operations on determinant. This is very helpful to solving the problems actually. Okay. Next I will define a very important concept, that is what is minors and cofactors. So what are the minors and cofactors? So first I will define the minor. So look at that, you have a 3 cross 3 order determinant, that is third order determinant, 3 rows and 3 column. This is a third order determinant. If one row and one column be deleted from an n cross n matrix Aij, then you are remain with n cross n matrix is said to be a minor of order n minus 1 of A, minor of order n minus 1. So I am explaining that one now. Suppose you are removing first row and first column. So what do you have? You have this one, A22, A23, A32, A32 and A33, right? This is called the minor of order 2. This is called the minor. So I am writing the symbol as M for the minor, and this is 1 1. Why this is 1 1? Because I am deleting the first row, first column. I am deleting the first row and first column. That is why it is a minor of 1 1. That is, it is a minor of what I say. This is a minor of 1 1. Minor of A11. Minor of A11 element, right? So also suppose you want a minor of A32. If you want a minor of A32, so let me write that first. So let me write that minor of A23. So I am sorry 32, right? 32. I want a minor of A32. How will you get that? How will you get that? You first write A32. This is the notation, symbolic notation. Why? Because M for the minor and 32 means you are deleting the third row. First one is row and second one is column. Second index is your column. So you are deleting the third row and second column. So let me delete. Let me remove or delete. So I am deleting the third row and second column. So you are remain with A11, A21, A13 and A23, right? A23. So this is your minor and you can calculate that. This is a value. So what is the minor? A11 cross multiplication, A11, A23 minus A13, A21. Clear? I hope this is clear to you. So how many minor in a third order determinant? How many minors you can calculate? As there are 9 elements, you can calculate 9 minors for this determinant. So there are 9 minors for as you are dealing with a third order determinant. If you are dealing with a second order determinant, there will be 4 minors. If you are dealing with a fourth order determinant, so how many minors will be there? 16 minors. So in this case you have 9 minors, right? You can calculate this. Okay, clear? So you can calculate the minor of A23 like that. How? You will delete the second row and third column. The notations are first index represents the rows, second index represents the columns. Clear? So I hope this is clear. The minor is clear to you. Next, I will define the cofactor. Already you have this idea cofactor in adjoint. Adjoint you have used the cofactor. So again I will explain the adjoint. Cofactor of Aij in data A is equal to this. Look at that expression. Minus 1 whole to the power I plus j, the minor of Aij. What is I? I represents the rows. I represents the rows, and what are J? J represents the columns, right? J represents the columns. So Aij, if A represents the cofactor, then Aij is minus 1 whole to the power I plus j Mij. So actually cofactor is the signed minor. Please remember, cofactor is the signed minor, because in minor there is no sign. You are just calculating, and this result will give you plus minus, no problem. This depends on the values. If this value is greater, if this value is less than this value, it will be a negative sign, but there is no sign actually. I am not putting any sign over there, plus or minus, whatever. But in cofactor you have to put the sign. So let me explain once again what is the cofactor of A32. Let me write what is the cofactor of A32. In the previous, in here we are calculating minor, but now I am calculating cofactor. So already you have an idea, the cofactor is a signed minor. Why? Because I am writing minus 1 whole to the power I is 3 in this case. Look at that, I is 3 and j is 2, right? So 3 plus 2 and you have M32. Already you have calculated M32. So in this case you have minus M32. So in this case you have negative of this expression, that is A11 A23 minus A13 A21. Clear? Okay, clear? Am I clear to you? Okay, so this is how you are calculating the cofactor. Okay, cofactor means there will be a negative sign. That is why in determinant, expansion of determinant, come here, if you consider the cofactor, this will be a minus, but I am considering the minor. So if you consider the cofactors, in that case it will be a negative sign. So that is why there will be a negative sign. Why there is a negative sign, why there is a plus sign, that will ask for. The reason is that because of the cofactor and minor. Okay, and also in adjoint, I will show you definitely if you calculate. So this is how in adjoint there is a if you write the adjoint of a matrix, so first one is plus, next one is minus, next one is plus, alternately plus minus. Why? Next one, this is the adjoint. Actually the sign, I am writing the sign, symbols, not magnitude. I am writing the sign because it depends on the cofactor, because adjoint is the matrix transpose of a matrix, cofactor transpose of a matrix whose elements are cofactors. Adjoint is a transpose of a matrix whose elements are cofactors. These are the cofactors actually. That is why plus, because you are deleting the first row, first column, the plus sign. You are deleting the first row, second column, so there is a negative sign. First row, third column, plus sign, so on. So that is why. So clear? So remember, cofactor is a signed minor. Cofactor is a signed minor, but in minor there is no sign. Okay, clear? So this is how we are dealing with the cofactor and minor. Next I will explain short lecture on multiplication of determinant. So before that, you remember one theorem, that determinant of two matrices, that is AB, that will be give you determinant of A, determinant of B. That means if you multiply two matrices A and B and you will get the value of the determinant, that will be exactly equal to if you find out separately the values of determinant of the A and determinant of B. So this is very important rule. So multiplication of determinant, how will you get the multiplication of determinant? Just like the rows matrix rule. First, there are three types actually. Suppose I am giving you one example for that. Suppose A, B, C, X, Y, Z, 1, 2, 3. This is one determinant. Another determinant, suppose A1, B1, C1. Right. Just I am taking randomly the numbers. C1, and suppose X1, Y1, x1 y1 z1, and this is suppose 0 1 1. This you are doing the multiplication. So how? You just like the matrix rule. What is the matrix rule? Matrix rule, you are considering the first row and the second column and the corresponding multiplication. So in this case you have a1 plus b x1 plus c into 0 0. This is your first element, right? Next you are considering the second column. So you have a b1 plus b y1, right, plus c1, c into 1 c, and so similarly you are considering the third column, you will get the third element. Next considering first row, first column, first row, second column, same. So you are going just like a matrix multiplication. This is first rule. Second, multiplication by rows, that is row by row, that is row by row, that is you are considering the first row, multiply first element, first row, second row, second element, first row, third row. Clear? So this is how, that is multiplication by rows, that is row of the first determinant, row of the second determinant, row of the first determinant, row of the second determinant. Next, by multiplication by columns, that is column by column, column of the first determinant, column of the second determinant, so on. So there are three ways you can do the multiplication by multiplication of determinant. So this is how you will deal with the multiplication of determinant. This is very important topic. This is very important topic for standard problems in determinant. You can apply this type of techniques if it is a very standard problems on determinant. Next I will talk about you have learned determinant, right? You have learned about matrices. So what is the application? What is the application? Yes, definitely there is a application in computer science, image processing and all that, metrics and all that, but there are applications, in real applications in some say solving system of linear equations, very important applications, because your target is to solve some equations. You have learned in your class 10 or 9 level, or maybe in 8 you have learned in your lower school level that how to solve equations, simultaneous equations by cross multiplication, by elimination method, by substitution method. Now you will apply determinant matrices, right? So I will talk about that, solving system of linear equations, because ultimately your target is to solve the system of linear equations. Okay, so how? The question is how will you solve the equations? Look at that, this is a system of linear equations. This is a system of linear equations. A11 x1, A12 x2, A1n xn equal to B1, A21 x2 x1, A22 x2. These are the elements, right? So these are the equations. So how will you write this equation? So actually your system of linear equations can be classified into two types, homogeneous and non-homogeneous. Look at that, your right hand side you have a numbers b1, b2, bn. If your right hand side is all the elements are not 0, then that is called a non-homogeneous system. If all the b1, b2, bn are not equal to 0, not all 0, maybe some other 0, no problem, but if all of them are not equal to 0, then this is a non-homogeneous system. But if all of them are 0, all of them are 0, then this is called a homogeneous system. If all of them are 0, then this is called a homogeneous system. So I am writing this system of equations in matrix form first. Let us write. Okay. So what we can say, suppose A is the coefficient matrix A11, A12, etc. A1n, A21, A22, etc. A2n, and lastly AM1. Look at that, AN1, there are n rows. Okay, let me write n1, let me write n1 here, a n1, a n2, etc., a nn. So I am writing the coefficients. Look at that, your unknowns are x1, x2, xn. That means you have a equation with n unknowns. These are the unknowns, that is you need to find out the values of x1, x2, xn. And in this case you are writing the coefficients. Coefficients means a11, a12, these constants are the coefficients. So you are writing the coefficient matrix. This is called the coefficient matrix, right? This is called the coefficient matrix. Okay, this is called the coefficient matrix. Clear? And you have an unknown x1, x2, xn. So let me write the column matrix. You have already learned the column matrix. Let me write the column matrix for that. x1, x2, etc., xn. And you have also on the right hand side you have b1, b2, bn. That is another column matrix. Let me write b, b1, b2, etc., bn. Okay, so what you can write now, it's clear what you can write. Coefficient matrix A, unknowns x1, x2, xn as a column matrix X, and right hand side that is a requirement vector b1, b2, bn. So what you can write, that expression 1 can be written as, equation 1 can be written as in matrix form, Ax equal to b. Clear? Look at that, such a compact representation of that equation. Such a compact representation of that equation. This is called A prime. So you look at that, your A as a expression like this, it's a huge expression because you have n equations, n unknowns. But if you write in matrix form, it is such a compact expression. Okay, so this is the advantage of using matrix. And now what is my target? My target is to solve. My target is to solve the system. Now how will you solve? First I will check the determinant of this matrix A. That is A matrix already we have defined. This is the coefficient matrix. Let me write the determinant of A. If this determinant is not equal to 0, then there exists unique solution. Then there exists unique solution. Unique solution of the system. As I am talking about a system, so I am writing solution. There exists a unique solution of the system. This is called the Kramers rule. This method is called Kramers rule by the name of the Kramer. This is called the Kramers rule. Okay. So what you will check? You will check the first, after writing the determinant, you will check the determinant value. If it is not equal to 0, then you will check, then you will confirm that there exists unique solution of the system. Now what are the solutions? The solutions are given by x1 is equal to date a1. What is a1? Now I am writing a1. Now I am adding one page here, extra page. What is a1? A1 is also a matrix, or suppose a1 is this one, that is a11. What is your a1? Yeah, this one. So you are just replacing. Okay, a1 is your, what is a1? A1 is replacing the first column, replacing the first column by this B matrix, that is B1, B2, Bn, that is this column matrix. This is a column, so you are writing this first column, replacing this first column by this, you will get A1, and replacing the second column by this B, you will get A2, and so on, replacing the nth column, that is the last column, by this B, you will get An. This is your A1, A2, An. Okay, clear? So this is how you will replace, and you will get the determinant value. Easily you will get the determinant value. So that determinant divided by this determinant of the coefficient matrix will give you x1, x2, xn. So let me explain with an let me explain with an example for that. Let me write one example. Let me write with an example. First equation is x plus 2y, suppose minus 3z equal to 1. Next equation is suppose 2x minus y plus z equal to 4, right? And the last equation is suppose x plus 3y equal to 5. Okay. Now this is the system, and you have to solve this system of equations. This is your system of equations. You have to solve this by Kramers rule. So what is the coefficient matrix? Coefficient matrix, you take first row 1, 2, 3. You look at that. First coefficient of the first equation is 1, 2, minus 3, right? Second coefficient of the second line is 2, minus 1 and 1, and the last equation is 1, 3. There is no z, so 1, 3, 0. So this is how you have written the coefficient matrix. Okay, okay. And what is your x? X is your xyz column matrix. And what is your b? B is your 1, 4, 5. B is your 1, 4, 5. Now if you multiply this coefficient matrix by this x, you will get the equation. So I am writing this equation, not needed here in Kramers rule, but you can verify that. If you multiply this coefficient matrix with this column matrix, you will, and equal to b, you will get this equation. So this system can be written as like this in matrix form. In matrix form, the system can be written as like this. So now how will you solve? You first check the determinant of A. What is the determinant? Check by Kramers, check by the rule already explained. First row, first column. So 1, 0, minus 3, right? Next, I am taking the plus sign. So hell to heaven, 2, 1, minus 0, right? And the last one, minus 3, 0, okay, like this. You will calculate. I am just telling, I am just writing the values. You will get minus 22 here. You can calculate that. I am not doing that calculation. You can calculate by yourself. So I need the values to show you how to get the final solution of the equation. So like the determinant expansion, you will get minus 22. And what is A1 in this case? A1 is replacing the first column. Replacing the first column. So what is the first column? First column is 1 to 1. So replacing the first column by 1, 4, 5 and 2, minus 1, 3 and minus 2, minus 3, 1, 0. This is the A1 matrix, that is replacing the first column by 1, 4, 5, 1, 4, 5, and you can get the value of this determinant A1. What is A2? What is A2? You will replace the second column, that is 1 to 1, 1 to 1 remains same, but just only you are replacing the second column. That is, instead of 2 minus 1 3, your column will be 1 4 5. Your column will be 1 4 5, and last one is minus 3 1 0. Minus 3 1 0. Right. So this is how you will write A2, and similarly A3 you can write, you can calculate A2, determinant of A2, and you can calculate the A3 by replacing the third column by this B matrix, and you will get the determinant of A3, right. So first you need to write that this coefficient determinant is not equal to 0. By Kramers rule there exists unique solution. By Kramers rule there exists unique solution of xyz, and that unique solution is given by x is equal to determinant of A1 by det A, y is equal to determinant of A2 by det A, and z equal to determinant of A3 by det A. This is your Kramers rule. This is the application of determinant. Another application was there to find the area of the triangle. You can try that. This is an assignment for you also. You can check any book for that. Find the area of the triangle. How will you find the area of the triangle? By using determinant expression. Very easy, because you know the collinearity, or from coordinate geometry, the writing the area of the triangle. That is as per your homework. Okay. Next, so this is a beautiful application of determinant, that is solving system of linear equations by Kramers rule. Okay. Next, another application is finding the inverse. So I am not going to the detail of this adjoint. Already I talked about this adjoint of a matrix, square matrix, in the previous lecture. So next we'll also the properties of the determinant. Okay, there are several properties. I talked about these properties. You can check that, verify that. So I will talk about another thing, that is the inverse. That is the last section of my talk today. Actually inverse, how to find out the inverse, that determinant is required for that. A square matrix of order n is said to be invertible if there exists a matrix B such that AB into BA equal to identity. That is, if AB equal to BA equal to identity, in that case B is said to be the inverse of A. In that case B is said to be the inverse of A. So B is written as A inverse, right. So if you have a multiplication like this, and you have, after multiplication you have an identity matrix of order n, then in that case you say B is the inverse of A, or in notation you will write A inverse. Okay. And invertible matrix has a unique inverse. Before that, now you can ask, what is the necessary and sufficient condition for existence of inverse? The determinant of A not equal to 0. The determinant of A not equal to 0. Otherwise inverse cannot exist. Otherwise the inverse cannot exist. So before that I will define singular matrix and non-singular matrix. So our matrix is said to be singular if its determinant is 0, and non-singular if its determinant is not equal to 0. So for non-singular matrix inverse exists. For non-singular matrix inverse exists. For singular matrix inverse does not exist. Point to be noted, dear students. For singular matrix determinant inverse does not exist, but for non-singular matrix determinant exists, inverse exists. And what is non-singular? Whose determinant is not equal to 0. Clear? And also you would have seen that Kramers rule, determinant should not be 0 for existence of unique solution, and if determinant is 0, there would be infinite solution or no solution. There would be infinite solution or no solution. Okay. So look at that. I wrote a theorem here. a matrix A is invertible if and only if condition. If matrix A is non-singular, that is the necessary and sufficient condition. Necessary and sufficient condition, that is if the matrix is non-singular, inverse exists. If inverse exists, matrix is non-singular. Clear? And also there is important theorem for that. Product of two inverse of matrices, inverse of the product is equal to given by B inverse A inverse. Inverse of the product is given by B inverse A inverse, and inverse of the matrix, inverse of inverse is A, inverse of the inverse matrix is A. Okay? This you can verify in problems also. Take any matrix whose inverse exists, you can easily verify that for the problems. Okay? Last but not the least, I will talk about orthogonal matrix. Orthogonal means perpendicular. Orthogonal if A into A transpose equal to identity. Two matrices are said to be orthogonal if A into A transpose is identity. Also you can verify that if a matrix is orthogonal, this also holds, that is A transpose into A equal to identity. This is also holds, and this is very important thing. Orthogonal matrix A be an orthogonal matrix, then it is non-singular. If A be an orthogonal matrix, then A is non-singular. This you can check or verify, very easy. If you want the proof of that, suppose it is a orthogonal matrix, so we can write A transpose equal to identity, right? A transpose equal to identity. Okay? Suppose it is an n-cross-n matrix. Now take determinant on both sides, det of A into A transpose equal to determinant of identity. What is the determinant of identity? What is the identity matrix? All diagonal elements are 1. All diagonal elements are 1. So, what is the determinant of this matrix? So, it will be given by determinant of A into determinant of A transpose, and determinant of identity matrix is 1, right, because you have a diagonal element 1 1 1. So, its determinant will be 1, you can easily verify that, and determinant of A transpose is equal to determinant of A. So, it will be determinant of A whole square equal to 1. You look at that, it is not equal to 0. Determinant of A is not equal to 0 because determinant of A square is 1. So, determinant of A is plus minus 1. Determinant of A is plus minus 1. So, you see that for non-singular matrix, for orthogonal matrix, the determinant is non-zero. Determinant is non-zero and it is given by plus minus 1. So, this is how we have talked about the determinant and also its application today, and also about the inverse system of linear equations. This is how. Okay. So, I am finished almost. So, I stop my lecture today here. So, okay. Now, I will answer to your queries.